My name is Carol. I am 27 years old who is working at a foreign affiliated company. I am about to go on an overseas training program today with my colleague and husband, Jeff. Jeff and I are same age and joined the company in the same year. We have been paired together ever since we were assigned to the same department when we joined the company. I can't explain, but we got along well and we worked very well together, so he was a perfect partner at work. Over the years of working together, we developed romantic feelings for each other and had become partners in private life as well. We got married 3 years ago, and we have been doing so well in our work and private life. We were able to work on a major project, which was a huge success to the company. Due to our huge success, our overjoyed upper management granted us an overseas training program of our choice for a week as a reward from the company. We had only been able to go on our honeymoon for one night in a nearby place because even for our honeymoon, we prioritize our work schedule. So for this overseas training, we decided to enjoy it as a honeymoon. While I was going through the check-ins of the airport, I was getting excited for the upcoming week. That's when my phone rang. I asked Jeff to do the check-in for me while I checked who was the caller. On my phone screen, an unrecognized number was being displayed. I contemplated about picking it up, but I decided to pick it up. When I picked up the phone, "Hey, Carol! Long time no talk." When I heard this voice, which was full of energy, I knew I shouldn't have answered. I was planning to enjoy the overseas training program, but this phone just killed my enthusiasm. The person who called me was Ashley, Jeff's older sister, who is 30 years old. She is an outdoorsy wild woman who makes me wonder if she's really Jeff's sister. I hear another voice which belongs to Ashley's husband, Max. Max also is an outdoorsy person just like Ashley. When the two of them are together, nothing good will happen, so I wanted to avoid getting involved with them as much as possible. But I was the one who picked up the phone. I couldn't be mean to them, so I decided to tell them that I am in the middle of something and then hang up on them immediately. Anyways, I tried to quickly ask her what she wanted to talk about, so I said, "It's been a long time, Ashley. Is there something urgent?" I asked her in a hurry and she said, "Well, if you think about it, this could be urgent." After she said that, she also told me that she used her friend's phone to call me because she thought that I wouldn't pick up if she called me with her number. Yes, I don't want to pick up Ashley's calls because I don't want her to waste my time talking unnecessary things. I was getting irritated by the fact that Ashley would just go on and on about hiking trip to a mountain which had been planned for the weekend was cancelled due to the bad weather, and now they do not know what to do with their free time. I wondered why she was telling me this, but since my boarding time is soon, I said, "If you're calling me to kill time, I have to go now. I am sorry, but I am very busy now." As soon as I was about to hang up, Ashley was asking me for a favor. As I was trying to hear her favor out, which was probably just another lame one, she questioned me if we recently moved into a house. From my in-laws, she heard that Jeff and I have moved into a house with a very spacious backyard. The land belonged to my maternal grandfather, who was in the landscaping business, but he was downsizing his business due to his age, so he gave me a piece of his land, which he would no longer use at a reasonable price, and I built a house there. That house was on the outskirts of a residential area with lots of nature, not too far away from the city. I didn't tell them about this house because I didn't want my obnoxious sister-in-law and her husband to barge in on me, but I guess they found out.
You should have told me you moved. I would have at least sent you a housewarming gift.
Ashley said something that was not from her heart. Shouldn't she know the reason why I didn't want to tell them about it? When I grew impatient because Ashley would not get to the point, then she said,
So, please do me a favor. Will you let me check out your spacious backyard?
I had a tremendously bad feeling about this when she told me this favor she was requesting for. I hope not, but is Ashley planning to barge in my backyard with the whole hiking group members? And what in the world is she planning to do in my backyard? Why our backyard, and what are you going to do with my backyard? When I asked her, she replied,
Well, I heard you have a big lawn, so I thought we could have a barbecue in your backyard with my hiking group members.
This is finally when she told me what favor she was asking for. Ashley said she will be preparing and bringing good meat for her hiking group members. And without me having any say in it, she started saying,
We might even set up tents and spend the night. I can't wait, and I am so looking forward to it.
As if I had already said yes to the favor, she said she's already looking forward to it. So to that, I said, Huh? What are you talking about? If you are planning to do a barbecue in my backyard with your hiking group members, it will cause a big burden to our neighbors. I am not allowing this, so I am not letting you use our backyard. After telling Ashley no to her favor, I also reminded her that Jeff and I would be going to an overseas training program for the upcoming week, so we will not be at home, which makes it absolutely impossible for Ashley and Max to even come over to our place in the first place. Normally, Ashley wouldn't give up easily and just annoys me until I say yes, but to this, she said,
Oh, really? So you're going away for a week, huh? Okie dokie, I get it.
Although I felt somewhat weird and uncomfortable with my sister-in-law, who just backed off this easily with her favor, I ended the call with Ashley because it was my time to board on the plane. As I was boarding the airplane, Jeff was asking me,
Who was the phone call from? It seemed like a very long call.
Jeff was worried if I was in trouble with work because while I was on the phone, my facial expression was dubious. The call was from your sister, Ashley. I told Jeff details of the favor Ashley was asking and told him that I said no to it. Then he said,
I'm sorry I had to go through that. You have the right to tell her no because she and Max always causes us troubles.
As Jeff said this, he sighed. As experience from the past, we have been in a lot of trouble because of our involvement with Ashley and Max. When we bought a new car, they begged us to borrow the car, so we gave in and lent it. But as soon as they wrote on it, they had totaled my car and they didn't even reimburse us for it. Since they don't even pay, I ended up having to replace the car with my own car insurance. When Ashley and Max forced us to go on a trip with them, Ashley and Max got too drunk that they had a fight with other guests at the hotel and made a huge mess, which they did not, but we, Jeff and I, cleaned up after. I still haven't received any of the reimbursement for the things that they destroyed at that time. Because of being with them, we also have been banned from countless hotels and restaurants, which we will never be able to go again. It has been nothing but a huge burden to us. Jeff and I decided that we would never again accept any invitations from my sister-in-law and her husband or get involved with them. After enjoying the view of clouds from the airplane, we arrived at the destination the next day. The weird and uncomfortable feeling I felt when I hanged up on Ashley lingered with me. But even Ashley wouldn't come over and use my backyard for the hiking group members while I'm away when I told her no, right? I think this feeling lingered because I was too tired from the jet lag, so I decided to relax and enjoy the sightseeing and focus on the training to forget about it. After a short rest at the hotel, we decided to tour around the hotel, shopped at the mall, and enjoyed the food we ordered at the restaurant. That night, since we were walking around all day long being very active, we were so exhausted that Jeff and I fell into a deep sleep early. I jumped and was woken up because my phone rang. I reached for my phone, which was placed on the night table, and picked up the phone.
Good morning!
It was my sister-in-law calling again.
It's not good morning here.
It's at middle of the night here. Don't you remember that I told you that I was going to the overseas training? Is she trying to annoy me for not letting her use my backyard? I knew it. There was no way Ashley would just listen to me and back off.
Oh, hey, I forgot. Sorry. Since it's morning here, so it wasn't intentional.
Really, she's the type of person for whom the words like sorry or unintentional doesn't fit at all. All of whatever she said sounds intentional and malicious. If Ashley was calling me just to annoy me, I should tell her off about it. So why are you calling at this hour? I asked bluntly.
Take a guess, Carol. Where do you think I am?
I don't know if she was coying with me or trying to make fun of me because I was too tired and sleepy from today's activity to think. Would you just cut to the chase? If you are just calling me to bother or annoy me, I'm just going to hang up. Unable to hide my anger due to my unbearable drowsiness, I raised my voice. To that she replied,
Stop being angry. Sheesh. Take it easy.
Ashley just continued to talk after that, which just surprised me, and my sleepiness was just gone. I strongly told her no, but she didn't listen.
I actually arrived at your house now.
My sister-in-law just told me that she came over to our house for the barbecue as planned.
What?
While I was at a loss for words, my phone was already showing me that her hiking group members had already arrived and entered the backyard on their own and were beginning to prepare for the barbecue. I told you no, didn't I? My increasingly loud voice woke up Jeff, who was sleeping next to me, wondering who I was talking on the phone with. When I told Jeff that it was his sister calling again, Jeff took the phone out from my hands, saying that he will tell her off. Seeing how Jeff was angry on the phone with Ashley, I was sure and relieved that my sister-in-law would withdraw and go home. But the next day afternoon, I received another call from my sister-in-law. I wondered what she has done this time and picked up the phone to find her saying,
Hey, Carol. Something unexpected happened.
When she said that, I thought that she always only does unexpected things. But I said, What is it? What is the unexpected thing that happened? I wondered how thick she is because even after Jeff was furious and told her off, she still seems that she hasn't learned her lesson of it yet. When I heard Ashley's response, it made me realize that she's a really thick person who did not get our point.
Sorry, I burnt it down.
With laughing, she answered. So to that, I said, Huh? What did you burn down? I asked what it was. Then she said,
All the trees in the backyard and part of the house.
She said this as if she was not the one who was responsible, so I replied, What? What? Which backyard and which house? thought it couldn't be, but she replied,
Don't pretend you don't know. Of course, it's your house and your backyard, silly. We called the ambulance and caused some trouble to your neighbors. So, when you're back from your overseas training, please apologize and send them your regards.
This is the worst answer I could ever get. What? What were you thinking? Jeff told you no and to go home, didn't he? That middle of the night when Ashley called, Jeff told her off, but no words seemed to have reached her ears and brain. After that, she began to talk endlessly, making excuses, and also started to say something that did not make any sense to Jeff and I switched to speaker halfway through and asked Jeff, who was standing nearby, to listen as well. After we hung up the phone that night, instead of leaving, my sister-in-law and her husband had enjoyed the barbecue with the uninvited hiking group members, and then took advantage of our absence and set up their tents and pretended as if they were actually up in the mountain camping and enjoyed that. To add to the pretend camping situation, they made fire for the barbecue and made a small bonfire. Barbecue at our backyard alone would have been burden to the neighbors, but to have a bonfire is insane. As the night went on, the wind picked up, and the flames of the bonfire quickly spread to the lawn and trees in the area, and even scorched part of the house. Jeff and I had been listening to what Ashley was explaining with indescribable feelings, but then we both looked at each other when we realized there was something wrong with this story. The next thing Ashley said made us realize this.
The soot-covered garden stones was saved, but the rest of the house was burnt down.
We don't have any garden stones in our backyard. Ashley, we don't have any garden stones in our backyard. To that, Ashley sounded surprised.
What? No way. Your backyard has these cool trees with wiggly branches and a little pond with frog and gnome statues around and some other cool nature things.
Jeff, who was listening along with me, said,
We don't have any of those in our backyard.
Jeff reassured Ashley that this was not our backyard. As if she saw a ghost, Ashley said,
What?
To Ashley, who couldn't understand the situation, I said, Ashley, are you sure that this is our house? I asked her again. As in panic, my sister-in-law explained in details about the surroundings. As we listened to her detailed explanation, Jeff and I came to a conclusion. We wondered if it might be the house next door and not ours. Yes, the house next to ours is my grandfather's house, who runs a landscape gardening business. Ashley, I think that's my grandfather's house. When I told her this, she said,
What? How could this be possible? This is not your house?
She seemed surprised for a moment, but then said,
Well, I'll buy some plants from a dollar store and plant them for your grandfather later. They say plants grow better after a wildfire, and things will be back to normal in no time. I'll paint the burnt parts of the house too. And when you return from your overseas training, will you apologize to your grandfather?
She had no sense of guilt at all, even though this incident could have resulted in a major incident. As usual, my sister-in-law tried to get away with it, forcing me to clean up her mess she made. Ashley, we have been cleaning up your mess, but this time, I won't be wiping your ass for you. For once, you should clean up after your own mess. To this, Jeff continued,
Hey, Ashley! I can't believe you would do such a thing. This time, we are definitely not helping you clean up your mess, so you better do something about it.
You guys are overreacting. It was just some small damage.
While she scoffed it off, the next instance, she let out a terrified cry. From the distance, I heard what sounded like a police siren, and the call was cut off. Then, I got a call from my grandfather, who owns the landscape gardening business. On the other end of the phone, I could hear screams and the sound of a police car, probably belonging to my sister-in-law and her husband. I immediately guessed that the call from my grandfather was about the incident Ashley and Max had caused. Grandfather told me that up until Ashley and Max called for fire truck, things were going good, but then, when the fire trucks arrived, Ashley and Max began packing up their belongings and ditched the place and just evacuated without helping other people. How irresponsible they were. Ashley was his sister, so Jeff apologized to my grandfather over the phone many times. Even after the fire was put out, Ashley and Max stayed hidden for a while and finally came back to visit after my grandfather already submitted the security camera footage to the police. Then, that's when she was seized by the police while she was talking and laughing to me on the phone. When they were interrogated by the police, Ashley and Max said our name, so my grandfather called me to confirm if I knew them or not. My grandfather said,
Since they say they are your sister and brother-in-law, I didn't know what to do with them.
But then he told us that he was going to sue them for attempted arson and trespassing. Even though they are Jeff and I's relatives, Grandfather said,
I have no intention of dropping the case at all because this is too malicious.
To what Grandfather said, Jeff and I replied, I think that's reasonable. Considering what they have done in the past, their behavior this time, and the total amount of damage and mess they have made. Most of the garden stones and trees in my grandfather's garden were his landscape gardening products. Many of the contractors are of historic origins, and the trees and stones they deal with are worth millions of dollars each if they were auctioned off. The total value of what was in his backyard alone was several of $1 million. The walls which they burnt down were walls created and painted by special craftsmen, and the cost of construction of my grandfather's house is definitely not cheap at all. Since Ashley and Max didn't listen to us, and being reckless and burnt down the property, my grandfather was very upset with them. As Jeff and I returned from the overseas training, Jeff's parents came to visit us, wanting to apologize to my grandfather. After hearing all the past troubles that Ashley and Max caused us, they were really upset with Ashley and Max. They said, I am too embarrassed to call Ashley as my daughter. She is insane. We only have a son, they said in such anger. Jeff's parents made a contract to my grandfather that Ashley and Max will pay for all the damages they have caused. And my parents-in-law also told my grandfather that they would disown Ashley and Max and that my grandfather can do anything with them as my grandfather pleases. After some time at the police station, Ashley and Max came back as ex-convicts, and they were both fired from their work. Not only did they have no way to pay back what my grandfather had demanded, but their parents had also disowned them, leaving them with no place to return to. Along with the fire they have caused, they themselves seems like they were burnt down with the fire. How long had it been since then? I don't know where they were or what they were doing, but recently, a small shack stood in the corner of my grandfather's backyard, and there they were, Ashley and Max. As what Jeff's parents told him, my grandfather is doing whatever he wants with them. My grandfather deducted from their salary to repay for the damages Ashley and Max caused, and making them work as a garden stone hauler without any pay. It seems that my strict, stubborn grandfather is very devoted to correct Ashley and Max's behavior and attitude every day, that under the scorching sun, my grandfather made them carry heavy stones and scold them. Since I see them like this, I have been thinking that this was a good lesson for me to know that if I can't take any responsibility for my own actions, karma will come around and make me pay for all of the responsibilities I should have taken.